Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gaming Daddy channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, we're going to be looking at another technical analysis, but we're taking a break from the useless talents episode. I have a few other talents that we're going to be talking about and looking in depth, but today I wanted to just reminisce about a talent that showed up in the Division 2 that really did change the game before it kind of got trivialized. And what's really interesting is this talent shows up in a perfect version anyways, on two specific weapons. It appears that things have changed a little bit, and one of the weapons seems to have dropped off the meta. As I've been playing for the past few months, weeks, sporadically, I just want to say that I've not been able to find myself a weapon called the Harmony. Now, some of you or many of you know this particular weapon. You know when this weapon dropped into Division 2, it was quite the impressive addition and something the developers need to be commended for. I mean, everybody was like, this is crazy. This is one of the MK, I can't remember the name of the weapon itself without the perfect harmony on there. And I remember, this particular one that I have that actually does have the perfectly in sync talent, even though, yes, I have test subject. I think I do have a test subject. I could use that. But this is the OG of the talent itself, the perfectly in sync talent. And for those of you who, don't know, this is a rifle of this variant. 300 RPM rifle, total damage for my build, which is a skill build, 138,000, and it's rolled quite terribly. But it does have a 50 mag size, and it does have a good RPM, and one of the best things about it is one of its very quiet attributes, which is the amount of stability that this thing carries. It is a very stable weapon, and it holds 50 rounds by itself, so stealthily, it's actually pretty good. And so I remember just dusting off my main character here on PC, going in with this my turret and drone build, and just running in the legendary pool, just matchmaking with a bunch of people. And one of the really cool and interesting things that I realized was how much I really did leverage this weapon. It was quite insane. There was so much, I would say value in getting this gun that on using it, with my build, I mean, glass cannon, the whole works. You're looking at Hana Yu, you're looking at Murakami, you're looking at Wyvern, and just using this thing to just shred. I mean, with the amount of talent and bonuses that everything is running, I believe that my damage, my damage dealing potential always was very impressive. I just never really remembered how good the build was. And so it's a weapon that I've not seen in the, in the pool. I've been trying on my other characters and my other accounts to try to get this weapon, and still I've not been able to get it. And even as shoddy as this particular piece is, which this particular weapon is just poorly rolled, it is still a wonder in how well it does, when you're playing with it. So I used a variation of this build. I finally changed up to something like this. If you notice in the video, I was using a Hana Yu backpack with, I think, perfectly combined arms, which is the named version force multiplier. I used that for a little bit, but apparently I left my Murakami mask in the base of operations. So I'll show you the two ways I run this particular build, and I've run it for such a long time. And for those of you who are new players, there might be something beneficial here. So I run 2 pieces of Hana Yu, I run 3 pieces of Murakami, and I run 1 Wyvern. However you want to place them, it doesn't really matter. You just need to know that on the chest piece, as my favorite talent when it comes to skill builds, if I'm not using any gear sets, I'm running glass cannon. There is no talking about it. The damage potential is just amazing. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And then for the backpack, I think your better value, if you really want to be leveraging your weapon, is to use the force multiplier backpack, if you get what I mean. But then, it depends on the heat that you're taking too. It may be something where you need to flop back from using the force multiplier backpack to another backpack that has skilled. And for those of you who don't know, the force multiplier backpack is the name Hana Yu backpack that comes with the perfect combined arms, talent. And so this allows for you to be able to knock out a bunch of damage while you're shooting an enemy. So this is specifically based on increasing your damage by 30% while you're shooting the enemy. So if you want to actively be dealing damage, this is something that you should use. And this is a classic Division 2 build, by the way. This is not new. I'm not bringing anything new to the table. I'm just showing it in the most classic way before we started getting a lot of the new items, you know, the capacitor and the Scorpio and all that. This is how we beat all of these missions when they dropped the legendary stuff and we were able to find out these combinations in the community. I'm also leveraging in, you know, something that I really do want is a good pair of the, what's the name? The Emperor's Guard knee pads. Now, I own the Emperor's Guard knee pads on, I think my other, I own it here, but I don't have a piece that I really do like. I guess this one's decent. I could take it and roll off the hazard protection and put skill damage on there and just leverage that 1% armor, armor regen, and that will work. But I just haven't done it yet. I want to get two so I can test out or have a secondary one to swap out for. And yes, I know they're selling it right now in one of the dark zones, and I do have credits to buy it. I have about 150 DZ credits, so I'm going to go and purchase one probably after making this video. But let's go back on the build so we don't get carried away with that. I'm using this chest piece, which is probably the best Wyvern chest piece that I've gotten, because this one came with glass cannon, and I've not found any that has looked like that in a long time. I mean, I've been playing, looking for Wyvern stuff, and it's just really challenging. I mean, Murakami stuff, I've seen some with glass cannon, and I can leverage them. And this one also has armor regen as well. So one of the really cool things is as I'm playing, as I'm running, my armor is regenerating, and that's actually pretty cool. I don't necessarily always need a healer when I'm, because glass cannon, you're going to take a lot of damage. Like, there's no doubt that you're going to be melted at every single turn. Every time enemies see you, they want you dead. The moment they turn to you, they want you melted. So glass cannon is great, but it's nice to have something that will bring your armor back when you've taken some significant amounts of damage. So that was actually pretty cool to be able to have one that came with armor regen, and I just rolled whatever was on the bottom to full skill damage. So holster is also skill damage, and I think I started to get kind of happy with the armor regen thing, and I rolled armor regen there. Now, if you ask me, what's the ideal thing to do is to roll skill haste on here. There's no doubt about that, because you really want your skills to actually work, and do a good job. And then, gloves, skill haste, skill damage, max roll, and then, knee pads, like I said, I would prefer to use that, but I have this one that has status effect and skill damage, so this is one of those nice knee pads that I do have. Now, I believe that you can actually run Empress International with this combination. I haven't swapped yet, because Empress International does have the skill health and the skill damage, so potentially the 3 pieces of Murakami that you see on my build right now, you can swap them for... you can swap maybe 2 pieces for... you can swap all 3 of them for Empress International. I know the armor regen on the Emperor's knee pad sounds pretty good, but I'm not even using it, so I think that's a good alternative to run. But this is where everything kind of, becomes interesting. Now, there's an argument. You can use the test subject. You won't feel too much of the difference in my own assumption, but I have to say that the per bullet damage is actually pretty nice, because you're looking at an almost 40-something% increase per shot. Now, yes, granted, your reload speed, your RPM, and all of that seems like it's going to make it up, and that's perfectly fine. But there is just something about your rifles that really does have a little bit of oomph, because even if we're looking at this, total damage as it stands, you also have to, consider that your rifles do come with, critical hit damage as well. So if I were to say, if I had a very nice one, I think I have a really good one. I don't know why I'm looking at this one going, man, this is such a crappy one. But if you did have a nice one with good, okay, there we go. Look, I said I had a better one. I didn't say I had the best one. I have one with rate of fire, and I have one with higher critical hit damage. So something like this is, in my opinion, quite the way to go. And why it's not equipped, somebody tell me. I even have it modded and everything. I think I just threw it in the stash and walked away. It's just one of those things. So that's something that's really going to change the game. And perfectly in sync, what it does is it multiplies your damage when you're firing your weapon. So pretty much it says, let's look at the talent here. Hitting an enemy grants 20% skill damage for 5 seconds. That's a very good thing. Your skill damage is now up for 5 seconds. And it says, as if you're using a skill damaging the enemy, it increases your weapon damage by 20% for 5 seconds as well. Damage increases are doubled while both buffs are active at the same time. So you have this doubling of both of the damage buffs. So basically 40-40 on both. And that point, it makes sense that your rifle is just, you know, pretty much chipping away enemies or whatever weapon you're using at the time. And, you know, I'm telling you, they're not going to be able to stay too long, especially if you have a good team on your side. You know, pretty much your turret's going to chip them, is basically going to chew them out, or your drone. In this case, I switched to a revive hive, and I think something was going on. I think my team was in trouble, so I switched to a revive hive, and so I had to take the turret away at some point in the mission. So this is another thing too, when you're playing legendary missions, is you have to adapt. And then something that was really cool too with the per bullet damage and the way I had to leverage the slow firing was when you get to Logan aka Aggro Smiths, what you're going to realize is this boss is one of the tankiest bosses, if not the tankiest boss in all of the legendary missions. It's insane because you first have to destroy his backpack because he keeps healing. And so having to use glass cannon and continue to aim at his backpack and have skill damage as well to use the firefly that demolishes the weak points and also use this weapon was a pure joy to be able to at least, you know, dish out respectable damage to be able to take out this guy without having to swap my build. Yes, a little bit more time on there because, you know, like if you had your full red build and you swapped to it while he was, you know, jumping down, or while he was the only one, you know, in the arena, you will be able to get a lot more bang for your buck. But here, I don't have to really swap anything. I got a bunch of damage. I just have to watch the way that I play because, you know, the glass cannon that I have, you know, and this, you know, using my turret to also damage him to improve my damage is also really nice. And then I think at this stage, this is where, you know, that force multiplier comes in really handy. Skilled, you know, tech support, sorry, is really good. And I flip-flop back and forth, like I said. But tech support basically allows for your skill kills to increase your total skill damage by 25% for 20 seconds. That's actually pretty good. When you have it procced with glass cannon and all, you can stay in cover when you're in trouble. And, you know, your skill can just get the job done. But force multiplier also just has that 30% improvement in damage that it's worth shooting because you now have perfectly in sync, you have perfect combined arms, and you also have, and more importantly for me, the highlight of this build, which is weird, is you have a harmony to be able to continue to fire with. So let me hear your thoughts in the comment section. Have you been able to find a harmony in the past few months? I haven't. If you have, let me know how, and you know how much it's, some of you might be raining harmonies for you guys, but not for me. It's been really hard for me to find another one because I want to use it on my other accounts and my other characters because I enjoy using it anyways. But I'll talk to you guys in another video. Let me hear your thoughts about this whole setup, about this weapon. Thank you so much for your time and audience. Thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you guys so much. I appreciate all of the participation and you guys just, you know, commenting on the videos and talking about the Division 2. It's a very serious game for me. Regardless of the landscape, I enjoy the Division, no doubt. So that's really cool that there are people that are like-minded about the game as well. So talk to you guys in another video. Peace out.